Once again, thanks so much for joining us today to check out Pixels for People 2022, raising funds for child's play. We're going to keep things going with a little something, a little game you might have heard of. It's Super Castlevania 4 for the Super Nintendo, brought to us by Tinnue. Let's get after it.
Hey.
Hello everybody, you might recognize my voice. It is D&D Nat again. I was hosting this morning. I am back with this fantastic run, Super Castlevania 4, being done by Tin. I am joined in the booth of commentary by Kenshin Trek. How are you doing today, Kenshin?
Hey, hello everybody, nice to be here. Hello D&D Nat, I am really fine. I am really excited about this run. Thanks for asking.
That's great. Tin, how are you feeling about this? You feeling confident and good to go?
Yeah, feeling good. Let's see what happens.
Alright, so this game requires a lot of concentration, so we're going to be doing a lot of the talking here, while Tin does all the fantastic game playing of Super Castlevania 4. So we're going to go ahead and do a countdown, starting at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Let's go. Best of luck to Tinnue in this run. I am really sure that she's going to be just fine on it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
She is one of the top runners. She has a PB of 33-36. We are in Stage 1 of Super Castlevania 4, which was released in 1991. Our goal is to get a specific weapon. Which weapon is that, Kenshin?
Yeah, the main goal for this stage is to grab the cross as soon as possible, because we are going to use the cross for the entirety of the game. The cross is the most OP sub-weapon in this game, and crosses kill bosses.
That they do. The goal here, get the cross, get the triple multiplier by hitting enemies and or candles while you have 8 hearts, and then keeping that for the entirety of the run. It sounds like a really simple game, right? Get an item, keep it, and don't die. That last part of not dying, that's kind of the hard part in this game. It's very unforgiving. We have some strats that cut some corners, but at a very, very high risk. We'll see how the game plays, and if these skeletons and RNG are nice to Tim.
You are right on that, because the main idea of this speedrun is the fact that you have to use damage boosts in order to increase your speed and traverse quickly. But if you use damage boost, your health it decreases and decreases, and sometimes you can be on really risky situations. But the idea is to manage your health in a wise way in order to balance your safety and your speed. So that is what's going to happen throughout this game. There we go.
Yep, she is doing a fantastic job going over those horse heads, making her way through the first stage, which is the stables, headed by Rodane, the undead knight. He is a skeleton on horseback. A lot of these bosses are blink and you'll miss it. So try to keep an eye on it. It's going to be a lot of jump timings, a lot of cross timings. Here we're going to see something called a Medusa boost. You can get the alignment right, where we actually use a limp whip to pause the Medusa head and try to get a better angle on to boost us forward versus backwards. But it seems that there was a little bit here of an issue here with the whips, and we got rid of the Medusa instead, just to be safe, which is much better than being knocked back onto those rotating platforms, which could cause a little bit of a headache.
And there we go. Here we have the boss of this stage, Rodane. As you can see, 3 well-thrown crosses are going to pretty much get rid of him. That's what's going to happen throughout this game. You can see that the boss fights are not going to be lengthy, because with the crosses you are pretty much going to destroy them as fast as possible. Great job. Okay, so now we are going to stage 2. What can you tell us about the stage 2, D&D?
Stage 2, the swamp. As you notice the purple hands in the very beginning, those are a problem. You don't want those to be grabbing you. But is it undead creatures? Is it spirits from beyond that are going to be the major enemy? No, this is animals and insects that are going to be the problem. Bats, birds, armadillos, spiders. These are far more of a headache than any undead creature that Dracula could summon. The animals here are a little bit out of hand sometimes. The birds specifically, they will have a random pattern, so we want to try to get those off the screen as soon as possible with some well-timed crosses. So as soon as the screen scrolls, cross hits the bird, and hopefully gets rid of it without anything known as a candle clip. Would you mind explaining candle clip, Ken?
candle clip is an unfortunate thing that sometimes happens in this game, which when Simon whips at an enemy, but the enemy is somehow blocked by the candle, and the whip hits both the enemy and the candle, most of the time the hit will take precedence to the candle and not to the enemy, and that is some quite unfortunate thing that may happen that prevents the player to properly kill the enemy. That may happen, and if that happens, Tinnue is gonna get boosted backwards by a hit of an enemy.
Yeah, being hit backwards not only loses you time, but changes your routing entirely. That was a scary bird there for a second, decided to come on by and say hi. The reason why Candle Clip happens is because the game checks for collision every other frame, and it does indeed take priority over the candles. So we want to be very careful about the height of where we throw our crosses to make sure that we try to hit only enemies, and if we do actually have to go through a candle and an enemy, we'll try our best to throw 2 crosses in a line in order to make sure that the collision models do work. That was, for a brief second, Medusa, if you saw it, by the way. It's a very quick boss, and we are blinked and you missed it type scenario yet again as we move into the floating river.
Yes, that is right. This game has 2 mid-stage bosses. The first one was Medusa, and the second one is going to be Poexil in stage 4. Okay, as you said, Tinnue is now finishing stage 2, going through this river that sometimes changes current, and when the current goes upwards, Simon has to keep jumping in order to fight the current. There you go. We are now going to stage 3, one of the most important stages in a speedrun situation for this game. What is so special about stage 3, D&D?
So stage 3 is very, very long, you don't got a lot of health, and there are a lot of things that can go wrong when it comes to health management. Remember, boost fuel, but this also means for the waterfall, which is going to be a scene that's coming up next, it changes the routing by a large amount. We're going to see something called the ring glitch, which is where instead of using basic arc physics when Simon jumps, when you're on a ring you are using pendulum physics. Now what would happen if you're using pendulum physics and let's say you hit the top of the ring? Well, we're going to find out. Keep an eye out for that because gravity doesn't exist. And we're going to use that to try to get through the level. But these mudmen at the very beginning are going to affect our health routing. Health routing is huge in Stage 3. We call Stage 3 3-gate for this exact reason. If you take a fully sized mudmen boost, you lose 4 health. Simon has 16. This is a major issue because we want to get 5 boosts per full health bar. If we take a 4, unfortunately, that can actually mathematically bring us back down to a 0 total if we were to take 5 boosts, 4 3s and 1 4. This can actually be a major issue and put Simon out of commission and basically have to have us start over again.
That was an excellent explanation. As we can see, Tinnue did an excellent job in block 3-1 and this block 3-2. She has enough health to safely traverse the rest of this stage. Now we are going to see in this next block another ring glitch. But I want to say that she has successfully passed the most risky area of this stage. Let's see what she does.
Successful eyeball boost, very nicely done, where you actually, instead of going down and around back up onto the other side of the screen, she jumps off and uses the boost that we get from the eyeball to skip and land on the platform. You'll see this later on again in the game and is one of the better time saves on Stage 3. We're going to be coming up to Orphic Vipers, which is the twin-headed snake or dragon that heads Stage 3, and you're going to notice something about the screen. It's going to lag. Lag reduction is a major thing in Super Castlevania 4. We do our best to kill things in a certain order or ahead of time, because everything, when it dies, produces a death sprite. Now, there's a lot of sprites on screen, and in order to prevent the game from being overloaded, the game will slow down. We will abuse this a little bit later on as well to prevent things from spawning, but mostly we do our best to try to avoid lag whenever we can.
Excellent Stage 3. I think that she did a really solid playthrough in this stage. Okay, now we are gonna see the Orphic Vipers. There you go. We throw three well-placed crosses, and there you go. There
Great
we
fight.
have the balls. Yeah. Now we are traversing to stage 4. Stage 4 is going to be the sorcery tower. And the interesting thing about the upcoming stage 4 is that we are going to watch most of the capabilities of the SNES console throughout this stage. What can you tell us about it, D&D?
Mode 7. It's Mode 7. Welcome to Mode 7, the stage. It is a beautiful stage. There are 2 bosses on this stage, as Kenshin had mentioned previously, where we have Puexel in the very center, with a naming concept, which is consistent throughout the stage. Puexel, written backwards, is licks you up, and you'll see why he's called that. And the boss at the end of the stage is Koronok, or spelled backwards, Ton of Rock. This level uses Mode 7 excessively, and again, with the pixels, causes a little bit of lag in a lovely place we like to call the Tunnel of Love, or the Tunnel of Lag. Here comes Puexel. Let's see if we get some timed jumps to get the crosses out, get some whips, and hopefully the beams from the ceiling are nice.
Really good fight by Tinnue. And now we are approaching this rotating screen. In this screen, we are going to see that the entire room is going to rotate, and that is, thanks to the capabilities of the Mode 7 in the SNES platform. Okay, we are going to see that several Medusas are going to appear, and you are going to witness something interesting. Just by crouching, Simon is going to be able to avoid being hit by these Medusas. That is something that casual runners may not know, and they may be in trouble because of the spikes that are down there, and that mean an instant death. But the solution is that if you go to the platform early enough and you just crouch, you are going to be able to avoid the Medusas because they spawn based on Simon's position. Okay, so as D&D Nat explained, the next screen is going to be the Tunnel of Love, and that is perhaps the most lag-induced screen in the entire game. Let's see that.
Yes, this screen is, not only is it filled with lag, but it's very important that we are able to mitigate lag and put everything on a level timer, so to speak. So we're going to try to kill as few things as possible. Remember when I said before that everything that dies creates a sprite? It slows down the tunnel. But the way that the lag works is that the spawn points of these skeletons, or as we lovingly call them, Richards, will change based on how long you are staying on the stage. So if you end up getting knocked backwards, you are going to kind of play around with the spawns of the skeletons, and could make it a little bit worse. So thankfully that was fantastic lag reduction strats. Oh, we're about to see something. Everybody pay attention to this. Oh, it's okay. It happens. But we almost saw the zip there. Now the zip in, we all know what a zip is. We tried for it, a little bit of a setup there, but sometimes there's a way to get Simon into the wall and have him push all the way across the screen.
Yeah,
no bad.
We almost saw a zip in there, which is the single most important speedrunning strat in this game. With the zip, you pretty much force Simon into a wall, and that propels him throughout this area, and that is a strat that saves like 10 or more seconds. Okay, we are now going to see the boss fight of this stage going on. As you can see, the crosses are going to hit him several times, and 3 more good crosses in there are going to take him out. Nice.
Great fight.
Let's see. No.
Yeah, it was too early for the zip setup.
Oh, that was sad. There was a possibility of Tinnue getting an early orb, which the cycle did not help her. Okay, we are now going to stage 5. What's interesting about this stage, D&D?
Well, this is a sort of a breather before the game decides to turn it up a notch. It's 2 scenes, it moves forward pretty smoothly. These harpies are a headache. They carry fleamen, and while the areas that the harpies can spawn in are a sectioned area, their spawns are RNG. So sometimes you can get 1 harpy, sometimes you can get 2 harpies, sometimes you can get 5 harpies, and being knocked back is going to make it all that much more worse. There's going to be some good health management here, a couple more boosts. We're going to try our best and pray for good harpy RNG, because once those fleamen start getting out of hand and bouncing all over the place, it can get pretty bad. And remember that candle clip aspect? It also applies to enemies too. So if there is another enemy overlapping each other, it's very rare that it happens, except for in this exact alleyway, where they can overlap and we can end up with an issue where the heart just knocks us into the pit. Thankfully, that didn't happen. And Tin is able to do a double boost here and make our way over to the beginning of Castlevania 1.
Yes. Please take into consideration that Super Castlevania 4 is pretty much a reimagining of Castlevania 1 for the NES. So we are going to see that the beginning of stage 6 is gonna look quite similar to the beginning of stage 1 of Castlevania 1 for the NES. We are now entering the proper Castlevania. That is the name of the castle. And yes, as the ending had said, from stage 6 onwards, the game is going to take a boost in difficulty. Most of the enemies will take one more hit to be killed, and the stages are going to get riskier because of that. There is an interesting screen coming up. What is it, D&D?
The anxiety swings. These chandeliers are Mode 7 platforms that you essentially have 3 ways of going about them: 3 cycle, 2 cycle, 1 cycle. And as the countdown kind of gives you the idea, it's faster to go for a 1 cycle, but it's so much more risky. There is very specific timing that is involved in a 1 cycle. Ooh, just missed that final jump. So we've got ourselves a nice, clean, safe 2 cycle. Great audio cue, but that 1 cycle was looking good there. Caught the clip on the lip and was able to position, but slightly slipped off. So a 1 cycle is highly dangerous, very fast. Each cycle saves about 4.5 seconds if you can go all the way down to 1. The 2 cycle usually involves an audio cue, and the 3 cycle is taking it completely safe and making sure that you just allow each of the chandeliers to go through a full swing cycle. One thing that I would like to point out before handing it back off over to Kenshin is that there is indeed a flashing lights warning that we're going to be seeing a little bit throughout the game, but mostly coming into stage 9. So if you have a photosensitivity issue, this is a photosensitivity warning. There is going to be a lot of flashing later on in the game, so please, on stage 9, when you see the big golden bat, just take a little bit of care for that.
Yes, you were right in that. Okay, so stage...
Okay, sorry.
That was quite risky. That was quite scary. Okay, stage 6 is one of the longest stages in this game. As you can see, Tinnue has less than half of his health, but that is actually okay because she took the necessary damage boosts in order to increase her speed. Okay, the next screen is going to be an interesting one. It is pretty much called the Hellway, because as you can see, we have several skeletons here in this long hallway, but if you throw in a nice position the crosses, you are gonna clean the way while you are walking through it. Okay. Oh, I see that Tinnue is gonna take a wall meat. It's important to notice the fact that throughout this game there are several wall meats nicely placed in order to replenish Simon's health. Okay, what is gonna be the boss of this stage, D&D?
We have the dancing ghouls, Paula Abghoul and Fred Escare. These two, yes, by the way, those are their names in the American port over. Fun fact, there are 2 versions of this game. There is the Japanese release as well as the American release, which has a little bit of a difference when it comes to censorship. You'll notice that if you've ever played the Japanese version, there's supposed to be blood, but in the American version it's acid, as well as missing some crosses, and some of the statues you might have noticed are a little bit more covered up in the background. So just like that, 2 dancers, 3 crosses, couple of whips, and that is an orb grab. Well, moving on to stage 7, the library. What a lovely place to be.
Yes, stage 7 is the library. People pretty much say that it has one of the best songs in the game. It is important to notice that the music throughout this game is really good, but this song in here is pretty much calming and really chill. Stage 7 being the library, you may say that it is a safe and nice area, but it is not. It is quite risky. In a couple of screens from now, we are going to see a really interesting strat that is going to be called the book jump. What can you tell us about this upcoming book jump, D&D?
It is very, very tight when it comes to the frame window. It requires Simon to catch a ledge of the book. There's going to be some rotating books, and we're going to try our best to jump from one to the other, and hopefully we're going to be able to get the book jump. That was a high axe, which is okay. No problem with a high axe. We take it. Low axe would have been able to boost us forward faster. Keep an eye out. You'll see that Simon's about to go for a very, very tight jump. Let's see. Yo, okay, and she gets it nicely done. Let's get some hype and chat for that jump.
That was an amazing strat. Okay, this is gonna be pretty much the second half of this stage. Just Tinnue can walk nicely and throw the crosses in order to get rid of the enemies. The boss of this stage is gonna be super cool. As usual, pretty well placed crosses are gonna get rid of him. Stage 7 is not as long as the previous one, stage 6, but it is important to notice that the difficulty increases. And in order to say something, I can tell you that stage 8, which is soon gonna be in here, is one of the riskiest stages in the entire game. Oh, we are approaching the boss. Let's see how Tinnue gets rid of him.
Indeed. Grakul, the knight that heads the library. Grakul has two phases, one with his axe, which he can throw or summon fireballs with, and another with a sword, which he uses to swing around. Fun little fact about Grakul is that if his shield is out, we didn't see it there, that was a great kill by the way, if his shield is out, there is actually a way that he can regenerate health. Yeah, that's right. You'll see his health go down and then go back up, and then back down, and then back up again. And that's because the shield is supposed to be canceling out these hits, but if it registers 2 hits versus 1 down, it's going to pip up the health instead. So, thankfully that didn't happen. We got a great kill on Grakul, and we are now moving into stage 8, as we lovingly call it. This is, if I remember correctly, if I'm not misquoting Tin, this is one of her favorite stages, which you can get it rhythmically.
Wow, I was not prepared to see that answer. I kind of say that stage 8 is one of the most hated stages for runners and casual players alike. Stage 8 is one of the shortest stages, but the main problem about this stage is the fact that pretty much everything that has a spike on it will kill you instantly. There is several risky strats throughout this stage, and they can save time, but they can be the end of a run. Nicely enough, Tinnue is doing a great job in here, and she seems to be out of trouble. Oh, what can you tell us about the difference between versions of this game in this stage, particularly D&D?
Well, if you notice, everything is covered in blood, and as mentioned before, normally they would be green if you played the American version, but this is the original. Now, by the way, it was ported over in the same year, 1991, and yes, this is being played on the Japanese version, where everything is covered in blood. You notice the spikes are covered in blood before the ground was covered in blood, which to some people would make a lot of sense as to, you know, if it was acid beforehand, why Simon didn't just dissolve it. Ooh, great stairs break there. We're coming up to a bridge which we call Vegas. Vegas is an RNG bridge where the platforms disappear. Each block does have a window where it is open, but when it goes away, when it disappears, is essentially RNG. So sometimes you'll get a break. Oh, hold on. Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah, nice. Excellent.
Goes for Vegas in a marathon run. Excuse me.
Yeah, what an amazing strat in there, betting on Vegas and winning. That saves several seconds from the normal pathway of just waiting. That was an excellent stage 8. Hype for her. Okay, now we're going to stage 9, one of my favorite stages in this game. What can you tell us about this stage, D&D?
Oh, it is beautiful. It is the treasury. I mean, if you've been alive, undead, what is Dracula? If you have been around on this world for this long and you haven't amassed a hoard of treasure, honestly, just step out into the sun at this point. Like, come on, you've lived for centuries. You should have at least some sort of an RRSP or an investment portfolio that's reaching this amount by now. Like, come on. So the treasury is beautiful. It is a nice yellow contrast to everything that was gray, green, blue that we had seen before. But do not let this beauty lure you to a false sense of security. No, this is where Richards will knock you off all over the place. Dissolving platforms will cause lag and have your jumps get eaten. And of course, the lovely Zap Bat at the very end, which makes sure that you can count to 22.
Yes. Stage 9 is one of the longest stages. It looks beautiful, but it's still really dangerous. By the way, let me tell you this in advance. We have another warning for photosensitive viewers in this upcoming boss battle of the Soft Bat. We can see that Tinnue is performing really solidly throughout the stage. Really great strats in here, and we are going to see an upcoming room with spikes. Let's see if she does what is called an spike jump.
Yep, she makes her way over the Scrooge McDuck pit, as we lovingly call it. How does somebody dive into coins? Isn't that just a solid matter? Here we go. Let's see if she goes for... Oh, no, smart. She ended up getting a little bit of a wiggle on the stairs. There is a way there to get a first cycle on those falling blocks. Seemed to just kind of misalign it and ended up taking it a little bit safer, going off of a boost from the blocks instead to make it across the spikes. It is much safer to do it that way, and honestly the spike jump only saves maybe about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds, so it's not necessary to be able to PB with that. It is something that looks fantastic but is not necessary and is high risk, not that great of a reward. Here we're coming up to the ascent, and yes, as Kenshin had mentioned, this is the part where things get a little flashy, and no, we're not talking about swag moves, we're talking about bright lights on screen. So here comes Zap Bat, which we're going to try to break through in his first phase in 22 hits, which is going to allow Zap Bat to be low when we break, and the reason why is because he is momentum based. So once you break him, if he's very, very high up and off to the side, well, the bats are going to be flying all over the place, and we want to go ahead and have this break occur close together as low as possible so we can get those crosses to kill this boss.
Pretty much a good breakup for the second phase of the Self-Bat fight. Here we can see that she's going to be able to get rid of the bats quite quickly. Yeah, nice one. There was a solid stage 9, and we can see that Simon is going to ascend via some stairs to one of the most iconic areas in the entire Castlevania franchise. Stage A is going to be the clock tower, and yes, every Castlevania, or pretty much every Castlevania game, has a clock tower area, and this is one of the fan favorites. This clock tower has really nice platforming and an awesome song. It is one of the shortest stages in this game, but in my opinion is the riskiest stage of them all. Am I right or not, Andy?
It really is. So there's a lot of Richards, again, lovingly called skeletons, that are in this area that could cause issues. There's a lot of lag. See all those teeth, by the way? Just notice that little gear there that's actually round. Where did the teeth go? Well, every single tooth on these gears is a sprite, which means that there is indeed a platform that can push you either backwards or forwards if you're close enough and you're rotating along the sphere. What we did, remember I mentioned before that sometimes we're going to use the frame rule within the game and try to get things to despawn? What Tin did there was she threw the crosses, killed the Richard, caused all of the death animations, wow, good quick ring, and caused the teeth to not spawn because the game went, oh no, there's too many things on screen. How do I not crash? Well, I might as well just not load what's going to be coming up next. So she was able to cause the teeth to despawn, which reduced lag in the long run versus being stuck with them on screen for the latter half of that scene. Here we're going through a quick ascent, taking some damage, passing on through, grabbing the ring. This part, it looks very, very smooth, but I'm telling you, it requires good timing. Even one little mistake can cause these boosts to go awry, and this is a vertical scrolling stage, and as you mentioned, Kenshin, it is fatal, it is dangerous. That means Simon goes up, and if he goes down, one-way ticket.
That was an impressive ascent. I want to say that Tinnue has not made any single mistake. Oh, there you go. She's wow.
Commentator's curse. It has to happen.
Sorry for that. I am so sorry. On the other hand, I want to say that she did an amazing job in stage 8. I mean, and that was amazing. is this gonna be a one cycle?
Oh, one cycle!
Whoa!
So right now,
what a solid stage.
Mummy has a bunch of spawns across the map. That is the best spawn for any percent on the right-hand side. It is RNG based. It can ruin a run. It's about 4 seconds a cycle, going up and coming back down. That is
Look at Tinnue's
well done. Oh, she knows she's
nice.
doing great.
She knows. She's having so much fun. Okay, this is the last stage of the game, stage B. Perhaps the longest stage in this game. In this stage we are going to have a bunch of bosses. There is going to be what is called the Room of Close Associates, with several bosses one after another. This pace is amazing. Tinnue is in a really solid pace. We are talking about 33 minutes run, if I am correct. This bad bridge is really lagging, but as you could have seen, a couple of backward whips are going to help Tinnue reduce lag. Oh, this screen, what can you tell us about this screen, D&D?
Yeah, so Room of Close Associates has 3 mini-bosses and then Dracula. Guess what? There's a little secret boss. Stairs boss. Let's see. Nice. Okay, good. So the way that this game was designed is that there's actually a dead pixel that exists. If you view the 4 stairs as a block passing through a Cartesian plane, if you were to take 2 of those stairs, put them in one quadrant, 2 of those stairs in another quadrant, and you put a 0, point right at the center, well, 0, means nothing to the game. It means literally that there's nothing there. So if Simon hits it at a very perfect angle, he can pass right on through. And there was a set of stairs there that, based on where Simon was jumping from and how far away and the arc that he uses, it's very common for Simon to pass through stairs boss. This can happen on any set of stairs. It's just likely to happen between the 4th and the 6th one because of the way that the arc works and where Simon is regularly jumping from. So she made her way through stairs boss, and now she is making it through the richer descent onto the spike platforms. This is the final setup. She's got pretty good RNG. She's taking it smooth, and we're making our way into Slogra. What's your nickname again for Slogra there, Kenshin?
Slogra is called the Destroyer of Dreams. He has destroyed several of my dreams. The most recent one, it was a couple of weeks ago. Okay, we are going to see Slogra fight right now. Oh, please correct me if I am wrong, D&D, but isn't Tinnue on a pace or something close to a pace?
We're not going to commentator curse her. We're not going to curse her. We're just going to watch her do good and hope that Slogra can't smell anything.
Okay, sorry for that. I had the best intentions, but now I understand that you are completely right about it. Yes.
Yeah, Slogra, we know, can smell PBs. So if she is on PB pace right now, we don't want Slogra to be a pain in the butt. So right now that was Slogra, which has RNG-based dashes, and if Slogra is very aggressive and your crosses don't line up, because Slogra has iframes, so you have to try to get all 3 of them over top of him at the same time in order to do maximum damage. So he can go very, very wrong if not. Oh, that was such a good Gaibon kill too. Gaibon just went down in second phase, overlapping those crosses, getting maximum damage. We're moving on to death. This is great to see.
Yeah. If Tinnue gets a good death fight, we are going to see that death is going to be killed even before he returns to the right side of the screen after the first swing to the left. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Nice process. Really nice process.
Yeah, good hits.
Not exactly the most polished fight, but still a really good. As we can see, Tinnue is pretty much with his health in full position, pretty much. And
swag jump.
Yes, that was really swag.
That swag jump is frame perfect based off of an audio cue. You have to press jump and forward at a very specific time. Normally someone would want to go back to the middle of the stage, but if you jump and press forward after 3 jumps when the audio cue for death stops, you will be able to jump forward and save yourself a couple of fractions of a second instead of running back to the center. You get a little bit of a head start on the run. So Dracula here is the final boss. We can only aim for his head. We're going to throw crosses. He has 3 phases essentially. The first one is purple fireballs, the second one is red fire elementals, and the third one is lightning from the sky when he goes all berserk. But there's also a little meat phase in between, so sometimes Drac is generous to us and is able to give us some health if we need it, but she is making short work. There's the meat orb. And we are moving into the final phase. Just a heads up for the timer. There is a 20-second animation just after Dracula goes down. So time will be when she grabs the orb. Just after that, I will announce it.
Yes, we are talking about a 33-minute run, which is an impressive time. Okay, we can see that this is going to be the end. And yes, Dracula is down. We are going to have this little animation of Dracula dying and the bats getting destroyed. And the time is going to be stopped as soon as Simon collects the final orb. That was an amazing run. It was a deathless run. We really strats shown throughout the game. That is a big GG. Congratulations to me. That was an impressive run.
Thank you,
incredible run, Tin. Oh my goodness, a 33 in marathon. Are you kidding me right now?
I mean, I didn't die on the one cycle, so that would probably been a bit of a different time, if so.
Solid, really solid run. Congratulations once again. A 33 run on an event, on a marathon event, is a really solid thing. I have no bad things to say about your run. That was really good.
You went for Vegas, you got one cycle mummy, you showed some stuff off. That bat didn't spawn for you though on stage 4, which is a little bit of a headache. That was that's unfortunate, but I mean, hey, you stayed alive and you kicked butt all the way through. Well done.
Yeah, I was kind of early on the initial jump for the zip, so yeah, no bad spawning. But I hope you guys enjoyed the run. I had a lot of fun doing it for this event, and if anybody had as much fun as I did and you're good to do so, please consider donating. It's for a good cause, it's for the kids, and what's more important than kids. So just one thing I want to say at the end of this, I want to say a huge thank you to my two commentators who are both also great runners of this game. Amazing potential for both of them. So thank you guys for awesome commentary.
My pleasure.
It is our pleasure. A big shout out to the Castlevania community. If you go to CastlevaniaSpeedruns.com, there is all sorts of strategies. The community helps build each other so much. We're always learning new strats from one another. It is never a negative competition. It is always us versus the game. We race every Sunday to kind of socialize and hang out. We are always hanging around in each other's chats and are always supporting one another, and that's really the big thing, because this game can be frustrating sometimes, so we have to be there for each other.
Yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the run. Thanks to everyone putting this event up. So that's a lot of work going into this in the background. You might not notice at first. So a lot of stuff going on in the background. So thank you everybody for doing this, and good luck to the rest of the runners.
Yeah, good luck with the rest of the event. This was really fun. Thank you very much, guys. See you next time.
Okay, thank you so very, very much for that run. Congratulations. That was an amazing run.
Thank
33
you.
in a marathon setting. Come on, give it up for Tin, please. Absolutely. We did have two donations come in during the run. I didn't want to interrupt, but we have $20 coming in from Lucinda Morningstar, who says, I felt it appropriate to donate during this run. Hopefully we can speedrun Count Strabanzerevich just as easily as Tinnue defeats this game. And we had $25 from Dranix that simply says, good luck, Tin. You've got this.
Thank you.
Tin, once again, thanks so much for getting rid of that Dracula guy. I'm sure we'll never see him rise from the dead again. Feeling confident about that.
Yeah.
Once again, folks, you're watching Pixels for People, speedrunning for charity, all going to Child's Play. And we're going to be right back with more real soon. Don't go away.